Broadcasting from the First National Bank Tower, this is KLEK-LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council.
Jonesboro's community radio station. Your life, your music. KLEK 102.5 FM.
Good Tuesday morning, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 forecast. Partly to mostly sunny today in the low 90s, light northeast winds. Scattered clouds, light winds overnight, 70 to 75. Tropical moisture coming up from those tropical systems will be giving us cloud showers and thunderstorms Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And it looks like that tropical system might be very close to us by Friday into early Saturday. Temperatures for the most part in the 80s, close to 90 each day. And it looks like we'll see some sunshine Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Your life, your music, we're KLEK 102.5 FM.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. US President Donald Trump's tried to cast doubt on the integrity of the upcoming election as he was nominated for a second term at the Republican convention. AstraZeneca's begun a clinical trial of a drug it hopes will help treat COVID-19. The UK government says it has no plans to change guidance on the wearing of face coverings in schools, and talks between West African envoys and military officers who overthrew the Malian government have ended without resolution.
It's 9:01.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you on your Tuesday. It's August 25th, 2020. This is Community Conversations. Kara Wonder is in the studio with you. Kabila Jones, host of Community Conversations, joining us via phone. And joining us in the studio today is Stan Mitchell. He is a candidate for city clerk for the city of Jonesboro. And of course, as always, KLEK and the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. We do not endorse, support, or oppose any candidate for office. These interviews are provided for informational purposes only. But as always, we definitely encourage you to exercise your right to vote. Election day is November 3rd. Last day to register to vote is October 3rd. And you can now request your absentee ballot if you are concerned about COVID-19 or have any other concerns. But we also encourage you, if you do vote absentee, to turn in that ballot as soon as possible, preferably just dropping it off at the clerk's office. If you do have to mail it back as soon as possible because there are delays in the mail. So now that I've got all that out the way, Stan, how you doing today?
Doing fine. How are you, sir?
All right, so as always, we'll start off with the introduction. Tell the listeners and the viewers a little bit about yourself and your background and what made you decide to run for clerk.
All right, sir. I am Stan Mitchell. Good morning, Jonesboro. I'm here, and I want to tell you why I want to be your next city clerk. I'm from Jonesboro. I grew up here, born in San Bernard's, went to the Nettleton School District, University Heights, and graduated in Nettleton, and then on to Arkansas State University, where I received a communications degree. Right after college, I left for 1 year, went to Pocahontas and went to work.
So I pull that mic just a little closer to you.
I'm sorry. And then...
I mean, you can lean back, just pull the mic closer to you.
All right, sure.
Okay.
Yes, sorry about that.
All right.
And after 1 year working in Pocahontas, I received a job at the Jonesboro Sun. I returned to Jonesboro, and I've been here ever since. I spent 18 years as a news reporter here covering city council meetings, every kind of meeting out there during that stint, and then got the opportunity to go to work in county government and worked there filing county records and such. And then when Judge Kurt Huckabee was elected, he asked me to go to district court with him, and I went and worked in district court.
Okay, now you mentioned your experience with the Jonesboro Sun, being a reporter for them for 18 years. Yes. How did that experience of actually covering meetings, how do you feel that helped prepare you to actually serve in that position?
Yes, sir.
Well, if you are elected.
Mm-hmm. As a news reporter, you know, you take your own notes. You know, it's really frowned upon if you record the meeting. I mean, so you have to. You go into the meeting and you learn who your aldermen are. I mean, luckily I know them here, so I'll have an advantage coming in there. A lot of times you go into a meeting, you're not familiar with the people, so you have to introduce yourself, get to know them, And then you want to make sure that you take minutes, accurate. And you're training for that for 4 years in college to make sure that that you get it right, because that's very important. You're providing information to the public, and you want to get it right. I think it will serve me well, because I've attended all types of public meetings. I understand the importance of the record being a public record. I spent 18 years trying to keep those records open to the public. Fought hard at times, more than once. Almost went to jail for asking that the record be released. I feel that strongly about our public records, that they are the public's records, and they should be there for you to inspect and review when you want.
All right, Quabela, do you have a question for Stan?
Well, I was listening. I want him to finish telling about his experience working in the political arena.
Okay, she wants you to kind of expound a little bit more on your experience in the political arena as how it prepares you for this job. Cool. So, because you mentioned, like, for example, transparency. So, obviously, you being on one side, you're trying to make sure that the elected officials are being accountable, being transparent. So, what would you do to promote transparency yourself if you're elected?
Well, of course, it'll be an open door. I mean, you can call me. You can call me at home and talk to me. I'm accustomed to that as a reporter. People call me after hours. I won't have a problem with that. I will assist you and find. If I don't have the information in the office, I will find it. You do that as a news reporter. I mean, you assist people in just various ways, with the records. In 2012, I did run for city council here. Received about 48% of the vote, and that was after my name was actually left off the ballot for a week in one of the largest precincts here. I'm drawing on that experience and trying to develop it a little better. This is a different political season for sure because of the virus and such. So you're having to be extremely careful and find unique ways to approach the public and try to ask them for your vote, because I am finding that people in Jonesboro still expect you to ask them for their vote. I've been told that many times here.
Of course, now how do you ask people for your vote, and also maintaining safety in the midst of this pandemic?
Yes, you've got a mask with you. If you are in the neighborhood and they're outside, say in the yard, I will walk up and speak to you, but I'm at a distance. I'm talking 12, 15 feet from you. I have been tested 3 times. I've come back negative. I think that's important for a candidate to know that. If you're going to talk with the public, you have a responsibility to know that you do not have the virus. I've made sure of that. My temperature is checked at least twice a day at work, every day that I'm there, and so I've gone out of my way to try to make sure that that I'm not catching the virus, and that I certainly am not going to give anyone the virus, because I have elderly parents who are here, 83 and 81, and I'm very close to them, and so I want to, make sure to do all I can to protect my parents and everyone else out there in Jonesboro, my friends and family and citizens as well.
All right, got a couple Facebook comments. Shout out to Patty Cheney-Lack, who is checking out on our live feed. Donna Matt Purier says, so you're very familiar with FOI, obviously that's yes, and being a reporter. Linda Johnson Frazier says, good morning, KLEK. Just wanted to say having these candidates appear has given me an opportunity to get to know more about them. This has really been so valuable. Thanks very much for Linda. We appreciate that. Of course, Linda, if you have a question for Stan, go ahead and drop that question in the comments, and we'll happily ask it. We'll get an answer. And let's see. Patty says, Mr. Mitchell mentioned that he worked for the county. What position did he have, and what was his responsibilities?
Well, I worked for in the county clerk's office, where we file county records, and I did payroll for Craighead County for a few years. And like I said, then I went to district court when Kurt Huckabee was elected. I issued the warrants, was my main responsibility, and I set up payment plans for inmates at the county jail and in court. So I tried to assist people as best I could with I would pick up the phone and call you and say, can you come and just make a payment today? Because I really did not want to issue another 205 warrant against, just because you didn't have the money and you couldn't make the payment. I truly would call people and try to work with them as best I could as a deputy clerk.
Okay. Now, one thing that we are guaranteed is a new mayor. Mayor Harry Perrin is not seeking re-election, so we definitely will have a new mayor. So there's going to be some changes in City Hall. How are you prepared to address any potential changes that a new mayor may bring in, as well as what changes do you think that you may make in the clerk's office if you are elected?
Yes, sir. Shortly after the election, if I'm elected, I will meet with our new mayor. I'd like to find out, what his ideals and his
or her, because we do have a woman running.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yes, her. That's correct. Whoever is elected, I will work with them. I assure you, to find out, what we can do to make things better for the citizens of Jonesboro. I would like to, in the clerk's office, I'd like to see a social media page started like what the police department has done, where they're keeping our citizens more informed with the activities that they're involved in and their programs and ideas and such. And I think that's an important aspect to offer our citizens so that they can keep up. The more information we can give the public, the better they are informed. And I just think that makes us a better city. One thing that I will post on that website is the clerk's salary. I think that's something that the public needs to know. And I've tried myself, I did research and I was able to find a range of that salary for the clerk in cities of the similar size in Arkansas. But I want to know what the Jonesboro clerk makes. I called HR and I was told to speak with the communications director, Bill Campbell, very helpful man. He immediately went to work on my FOI request and told me. So I was able to find that. But as a citizen, I think that I should be able to just go to that website and be able to find that information out. And if I'm elected, you'll know what your clerk makes.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about the salary. This was a question that came up yesterday, so I'll ask this question as well. So if you are elected clerk, would you refuse a pay increase?
Yes, sir, I would.
And also on the same lines as Donna Matt Purrier just dropped this in the comments, do you agree or disagree with term limits?
Okay, all right. Those are actually two important aspects of my campaign. I want to let the citizens know here that I will only serve 2 terms if you elect me as your next city clerk. I think it's we almost make a mistake when we leave our elected officials in office for long periods of time. We have a situation, in our county now, but we won't go there. But I just feel that we need change from time to time. And at one time in Jonesboro, I know we elected our elected officials, and we left them in there for 30, 40 years. But I don't think the environment is right for that anymore. If it's good enough, if the most important job in our country is president, 2 terms for that, then I think that really I want to start a trend to where 2 terms in Jonesboro, and then let someone else serve. Also, as far as the pay raise, I will not accept a pay raise during the first 4-year term. I don't think it's right. You know what it pays going in, and I just don't think it's right to ask the taxpayers to raise their taxes or for a pay raise 2 years or even just 4 years into the job. So I won't. If I'm elected to a second term, and we'll talk about a pay raise then, a modest pay raise. I know what that salary is now, and
what is that salary?
Bill Campbell tells me it pays between $88,000 and $90,000 right now.
Okay.
I will not ask you for a pay raise. I promise you that.
All right, Patty Cheney Lack says, can you ask Mr. Mitchell why is it knowing the city clerk's salary important?
Why is it important? Because people have asked me what that salary is, and I just felt that I needed to be informed there. I didn't know. Honestly, I thought it was lower than that, to tell you the truth. But I got asked it several times out there, and so I thought that I needed to know that.
Okay, and something else, will you commit to attend all the meetings, or as many meetings as you possibly can make?
Yes, sir. If I'm elected your clerk, your elected clerk will be at the meeting. I've heard some of that out when I'm out campaigning. That people, if you're sick or you have a family emergency, that I absolutely understand. I too would have to attend to those happenings. But people are saying that they've noticed that the deputy clerk has been attending our meetings for some time, and I'm here to pledge to you that if I am elected, your city clerk will attend your meeting, your city council meeting.
Okay, and while we're on the same vein, also, if you are elected, will you keep the same staff in place, and will you be prepared on day one to start?
Yes, sir. I will. I've drawn on support from people here that I trust and I know. I will try. I mean, it's a 3-person office. Obviously, our elected clerk is leaving, and then my opponent is running, and then there's an office manager, Patsy, I believe. And yes, I will. I will work to keep as much of that staff in place as I can. I think that's important.
All right, let's bring Kobila back on. Did you have a question for Stan?
Yes, I wanted to go back when he mentioned about setting term. Well, there should be term limits, and so I asked this question yesterday about because of the role of the clerk, should this potentially be a appointed position versus an elected position that people are going to be rotated out based on, I guess, how people vote. If people vote someone out, even though the last person has been there for X number of years, could this position potentially move to an appointed position versus elected? And second part of that is, when you mentioned about serving 2 terms, that gives you time to learn the job, get things in order, but then now someone new is coming in. Should the next person coming behind you already either have some working knowledge or some experience around about the position? That's it.
Did you get the question? Stan, did you get the question?
No, sir.
Okay, Kobila, repeat the question and I'll restate it to him.
Okay, I'll start with the first one. Since you mentioned having certain...
Oh, you got to put your headphones on, sir. That's why you couldn't hear her.
Yeah.
You had to keep them on the whole interview. I'm sorry. All right, Q, start over.
All right, so since you mentioned having term limits, how does he feel about the position potentially being moved to a appointed versus elected? Of course, they'll have to go through a lot of steps and processes, but I'll let him answer that first.
Okay, so the question is, do you feel that because of all this going on, would this be a position that would be better being appointed as opposed to elected?
I think I'm more in favor of the elected clerk. That way, you're getting a true representation of the people and their will. If the clerk's office really should be independent from the mayor's office, because you shouldn't go off the record. You have a job to do, and as a news reporter, I dealt with that. People would want you to go off the record, and you can't, and I wouldn't, and I won't here because that would be a violation of the law. And
okay, and what was the second part?
Well, the second part is also, since he mentioned about having term limits, the next person that is either that's running for that position, should they have some type of working knowledge or have some training in anything clerk, city government related?
Oh, it would help. I would agree with that as well. Working in the county clerk's office, I gained valuable experience there. There you also do the payroll for Craighead County, and you also conduct elections. Those are, 2 areas that the city clerk does not. So I have, yes, I think that's important to have some experience in government and working. That's one reason why I went to work in the government. In 2016, I had planned to run for city clerk then, but I learned because our clerk, I had heard that she was looking at not running in 16. So I began to run, but when she decided that she would, I went and talked to her and told her that I would not run against Miss Jackson, that I've known her a long time, and I consider her to be a friend, and that I would just wait until she was finished with her term, and then I would put my name into the hat and seek office then.
All right. And Patty Lack asks, are you currently employed right now?
Yes, ma'am. I currently work for Department of Human Services. I assist people with the SNAP program, and our elderly with Medicaid and such. I am a compassionate person, and I do enjoy helping people, and I get a reward out of life helping them. People, when they come to that state agency, are a lot of times in dire need, and they need assistance. And I enjoy, if I don't have the answer, usually we have the paperwork there and know where to send the people to, either Crowley's Ridge or HUD or another state agency or local agency to assist them.
All right. With that, we're going to get ready to go into our first break. We're speaking with Stan Mitchell, candidate for Jonesboro City Clerk. And, of course, if you have a question or a comment for him, you can post your questions and comments on our Facebook Live feed. Just go to KLEK 102.5 FM on Facebook and join our discussion there. But going to go to a break, and we will be back with more. This is KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Men, how can you raise strong daughters? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. You raise strong girls by having a father actively involved in their life. How do fathers influence daughters? First, fathers are role models. Remember the saying, monkey see, monkey do? Well, it's no different in parenting. Daughters follow what their fathers do. Second, fathers are encouragers. When girls are faced with tough decisions, their dad's encouragement means the most. So whether it's alcohol, premarital sex, drugs, or anything else, remember to offer wisdom. And last but not least, fathers are sources of love. All girls crave affirmation, so be sure to constantly shower your daughter with love. And remember, your family first.
Want to go deeper on this topic? Just go to markmerrill.com to download the Family First podcast.
Made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization committed to service to all mankind. KNOMEGA1908.com.
Brought to you by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, dedicated to the purpose of achievement. Jonesboro Alumni at gmail.com, Jonesboro AR Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity on Facebook, and Jonesboro_Kappas on Instagram.
Arkansas Early Learning offers child care activities and educational programs to children ages 0 to 5 that gives them a head start in life. Arkansas Early Learning is in the community at no cost. Applications at arearlylearning.org. That's arearlylearning.org. Or on Facebook at Arkansas Early Learning.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
Hello, I'm Officer Jonathan Higgins of the Jonesboro Police Department. One of the best decisions I ever made was to join the Jonesboro Police Department. Since joining, I've had the pleasure to give back, protect, and serve my community. Now I want to let you know about that same opportunity. The Jonesboro Police Department will conduct testing for the patrol officers at the Valley View High School. Applications are available online at jonesboropolice.com. The Jonesboro Police Department offers a competitive salary, health, and retirement benefits, top-of-the-line training, and most importantly, the chance to make a difference in the Jonesboro community. Join me in making Jonesboro a better place. The Jonesboro Police Department is an equal opportunity employer, and women and minorities are especially encouraged to apply. More information, 870-935-5657.
Applications are being accepted. Applications are available at jonesboropolice.com.
KLEK102.5FM.com.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
We're back on Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with our guest Dan Mitchell, candidate for city clerk. And going back to our Facebook Live, Linda Johnson Frazier says sometimes the reason why elected officials get reelected is because sometimes the names on the ballot is familiar and it's all some people have ever known. Thank you again, KLEK, for introducing these candidates. Mr. Mitchell has already shown he has compassion for others. When he mentioned he made phone calls to citizens instead of just issuing arrest warrants, compassion is growth. My question is, how will you continue your compassion if elected?
Well, it'll be an open door there. Like I said, you can come by, and if you have questions, you can call. I kept my number in the Jonesboro phone book here until about 2 years ago when I finally broke down and got a cell phone. As a reporter, I felt it was important to have a landline because people often would talk to me after work, after hours, not call a newsroom and talk, and that was fine. That was part of the job. I accepted it, enjoyed it. I mean, I will continue that open line of communication to the people. I know a lot of people here, and I think people know me as someone that you can come and talk to me. If you have an issue, I'll try my best to help you resolve that issue. That's just who I am, who I've always been. And I pledge to you that I will try to be the best clerk that you've had.
All right, Kubila. Kubila, are you still with us?
Sorry, yes. Okay, so we talked yesterday about some of the duties of the clerk, as outlined in the Arkansas Constitution. And so it talked about handling finances and handling code of ethics and property and things of that nature. So can you give us a rundown of how your previous experience will assist you in handling those duties of office?
Okay. Yes. As the clerk, you maintain custody of the laws, ordinances, and resolutions of our city. You also maintain custody of the city seal, which is affixed to all transactions of the city records. You keep an accurate journal of the city council proceedings. I think my work as a news reporter and in county clerk and county government, that I can draw upon that, because I understand that while the city council proceedings and those minutes and such are a main priority of that office, there are other parts of it. As in county clerk's office, you kept the drainage district records. Anytime a student transfers from one school district to another, a record of that is filed within that office. Marriage records are so there. There's all kinds of records that are in the city clerk's office that and I'll just pledge to you that I'll work hard and make sure that I do it right.
Khalil?
Okay. I'm still looking at more information about the position that we didn't traditionally cover, but I did want to kind of go back. Let me get my thoughts together. I'm so sorry. I have too many thoughts right now.
You're fine. We got a question from Facebook. Donna Matt Purier says, what would you do to promote citizens to get more involved with the meetings?
Well, I would like to see the city clerk's office develop social media website like what the police department has. They've got that out there to where they tell about a lot of their programs and a lot of live feeds, and I know a lot of that is already on the city website, but I would like to see something developed within the city clerks to where citizens could go to that website and perhaps just have another venue for the citizens out there to be able to access and find out the information that they're seeking.
Okay, and Shanquetta Cunningham says, excuse me if this has been covered. Just tuning in. Do you believe as a reporter your profession presents a conflict of interest as a holder of record?
No, I do not. As a reporter, that's former reporter. That was 12 years ago. I was a reporter, but no, I don't. Now, if I was a current reporter and seeking office, I don't know that would be allowed because there would be a strong conflict of interest there. But no, and I think that I can draw on my experiences as a reporter in dealing with public officials and. There are always good public officials out there, and then not so. I wouldn't say bad, but just maybe not as good as the others. Let's say. So I can draw off of that experience and just make sure that that our office door is open, that it's transparent, truly transparent, and. With the FOI, I believe that when the citizen comes by, it only has to be a verbal request. It does not have to be a written request. And you have 3 days to produce that record to the requestant if that record is in storage. But the Supreme Court went further, and it defined storage, saying that storage does not mean a filing cabinet down the hall. Well, if it doesn't mean a filing cabinet down the hall, then I don't believe that it means a computer file across the room. So I feel that when that record is requested, that to the best of my ability, that record will be released upon the request.
All right, Kawhi, have you got your thoughts together now? I think.
Yes. Okay. There was one question. And then there's another one on Facebook, but I know this doesn't technically fall under your position, but we hear conversation about saving the city money, saving the taxpayers' money in different areas of spending. And so would you, if you are elected, try to work with other offices, departments, to find ways to cut costs and be more efficient with the taxpayers' money? Or make suggestions at least. Oops.
Yes, ma'am. I pledge to you that I will do that. I will work with those other elected officials, and streamline that budget. I don't think our current clerk is a waste of taxpayer dollars. I think she's been a good steward of that, and I will continue that. That's why I'm pledging to you that I will not accept a pay raise during that first 4-year term. I want to be a good steward of your tax dollars. I pledge to you that I will not steal your money. That's not who I am, never who I've been. And again, I will not accept that pay raise because I do want to be a good steward of your tax dollars.
All right, Patty Cheney Lack says the city clerk's job is so much more important than citizens think. Please ask Mr. Mitchell what he thinks the number one responsibility is of the city clerk.
Well, I guess the number one, you have to keep an accurate journal of those meetings. You are charged with that. And my experience, again, 18 years of taking minutes with not having the luxury of a recording device. I was expected to get the minutes right, just taking notes. And again, I pledge to you that I will do absolutely the best I can.
Well, let's bring it back to that social media page because that's something that you keep bringing back.
Yeah.
Would that be something in which you would post those minutes on?
I would.
And maybe even put something on there to explain, because some people may look at the agendas and the meetings, they may see things and it may look like a foreign language to them. So maybe even something on there to help people to understand what they're looking at. Because it's one thing to be transparent and to put the information out there, but also it's important to make sure that people understand the information that's in front of them.
I agree. My degree is in communications, so I understand the importance of communicating with people to where they do understand, because we need an informed public. The better informed we are, the better decisions we can make here. And I'll place you there again. I will do everything in my power to put as much information out to the public to where you can stay informed as far as the city clerk's office is concerned that I can.
All right, Kabila?
Yes, I want to ask, in the city council meetings, and this, I think I probably know the answer, but for those who may not, what role, besides taking minutes, what other additional roles do you play? Will you be able to have any say-so in anything that is discussed?
Well, no, not as the clerk. Your clerk is to remain neutral. You're there to take the minutes and to record the vote. You call the roll if there's a roll call vote. So it's it's important you know the names of our aldermen and who they are and their voices. But as an active role in the council, really you're there as an observer, not a participant. And that's the same really role as a reporter. You're to observe and to record what's happened, but you're not to participate in the meeting.
Okay. I have another question. I don't know if this has ever come up in the city clerk's position. I'm just thinking about things that could potentially happen if you're asked to do something by another co-worker or department head. When it comes to records as far as falsifying, adjusting, editing, anything of that nature, how do you feel you would handle a situation like that? Or is that even something that's a possibility in that position?
Well, it wouldn't happen under me. I'm not going to falsify any records. I have a fear of jail. And so I'm not about to do that. No one in my administration is going to do that either. We're here to represent the people of Jonesboro, and we have fine people in Jonesboro, and I want to be a reflection of that. I'm not going to bring any bad light there by falsifying any kind of record. I will assure you of that.
Okay, I just didn't know if that's something that any clerk anywhere has ever encountered. If it's possible to adjust the record to favor whatever the department is trying to do.
I can see your concern. With one thing, at least with the recording of the meetings and the such, there's a second backup, there to where there's proof of what actually occurred. I want a true reflection, good, bad, or indifferent. It is what it is, and it's the public's business, and therefore it should be conducted in public, and it should be an accurate reflection of what occurred.
All right, Patty Cheney-Lex says everyone can go to jonesboro.legistar.com and get informed about every item coming in front of our committees. Can you ask Mr. Mitchell, is he familiar with that page?
I'll have to say that I am not familiar with that page.
Okay. Well, the Legistar, I've heard it brought up in the meeting. That's where they post all of the minutes and things like that from the meetings. I haven't did a deep dive into it because usually we just get the stuff sent to us directly.
Right, sure, right.
All right. Donna Matt Purier says, would you be transparent with that if someone did ask a favor as in reporting it? Donna, could you maybe expound on that a little bit? And then we'll come back to it. Speaking with Stan Mitchell, candidate for city clerk for the city of Jonesboro. Don't forget, Election Day is November 3rd. Last day to register to vote is October 3rd, and you can get your absentee ballot right now. Go ahead, if you are concerned about COVID-19, request it and return it as soon as possible. Shanquetic says, that is the main software used to upload, store, and submit the meeting agenda, resolutions, etc. Don, we're still waiting for you to kind of clarify your question just a little bit because we do definitely want to ask that. Quabila, let's go back to Quabila in the meanwhile.
Well, I was going to comment on Donna's. Maybe she's asking if he was asked to do a favor or anything, would he report it to the appropriate authorities within the city?
Oh, yes. If it's wrongdoing, I certainly will. I hate to draw back to a reporter, but I did investigations here into wrongdoing. Back years ago, we had problems with our child support office here, and I did an investigation for our local paper here that led to an Associated Press investigation that found that there was theft within our child support office here, and it led to the conviction and imprisonment of a state senator. So I've always been there to try to right the wrong and honestly try to catch the corrupt public official.
All right. Linda Johnson Frazier says, Patty Cheney Lack, you are correct. The city clerk's job is very important. It's hard for individual people to conduct their own household and keep their own important records. Imagine doing it for thousands. Definitely would not be an easy job, but
Nope.
that's why I'm not running. And that's why I stay in this.
There you go.
All righty, Kubila.
Nothing. We've covered quite a bit, and for those that may have missed the beginning, can you maybe recap, some of your experience in education that lends itself to you being?
Well, I'm gonna remix that just a little bit because he's touched upon his experience as a reporter, but I want to know what other life experiences you have that you feel prepares you for the job outside of your reporting experience.
Well, all right. I'm actually an eyewitness to a capital murder. In 1991, I was in a patrol car with a police officer friend of mine when a guy came out of a house and shot and killed him. And that bothered me for a long.
What, killed the police officer?
Killed the police officer. Yes, sir. I am an eyewitness to a capital murder there. I had to testify in that case, as a reporter. I took on a whole different role because as a reporter, you're there to cover the event, and then all of a sudden, I became part of the story because of just the circumstance of where I was. That taught me. The community wrapped its arms around me. Both the town of Pocahontas, where it occurred, Jonesboro, the support and just the caring that was shown toward me. I've never forgotten that. People went out of their way to let me know that they were thinking of me, praying for me, and my buddy's family. He had a 3-week-old son at the time he was killed, and it was a terrible thing, but I've drawn on that, and I've become stronger as a person, realizing that life is short, and that you should take each day and make the most of it as you can.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with that. You just never know what kind of situation that you may be placed in. So. And I think hearing a story like that, I think kind of goes back to what Linda said earlier about the compassion. I think going through something like that helps to foster the spirit of compassion.
It does.
In you. So you mentioned earlier about when you were in the county office, how you would work with people that owed fines so that they wouldn't go to jail. So
yes.
If you are in the city, would you do the same thing with people who may owe the city money, try to work with them? So that they don't get sued or, get in trouble?
I do that now in my current job. I handle right now what's called a semi-annual report, which is a part of the SNAP program. People get busy. They forget to sign that document. They mail it in. Well, if I mail that document back to them at the current, our postal service is a little slow at the moment. There's a chance that document will not get returned in 10 days, and it will cause their case to close. I don't want that to happen. I mean, there are children out there who depend on that food, and so I pick up the phone and I attempt to call these people, and I'll just ask them, can you please just run by the office here, sign the document, and that way it'll keep your SNAP case from closing, and you'll still receive benefits this month. And people are very thankful. They get busy. They fill out the whole form and then they forget to sign it. But that is a fatal error for that document not to be signed. And so, yes, I will pledge to you that I will make contact with the people. I'm a people person. I mean, as a reporter, I will talk to anyone. I made a point that I would not only get to know the CEO in the company, I want to know the janitor, because I want to know everywhere in between. I mean, that's just who I am.
All right. we got a question. I'm going to go ahead and ask it now, but you can answer it on the other side of the break. Donna Matt Purier says, are you campaigning in all neighborhoods or just certain areas of the city? Do you feel you can relate to all social statuses in our city? So we're going to get ready to go to a break because I don't want to have to cut him off in the middle of answering the question. So we'll come back on the other side of the break with Stan's answer to that question, but getting ready to, once again, go to break as I mentioned. Don't go anywhere. This is Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. There's more to budgeting than calculators and spreadsheets. According to BlackEnterprise.com contributor Patrice C. Washington, known as the Wisdom and Wealth Money Maven, budgeting starts with your mindset and setting the right intention. Here's what else Washington urges you to focus on as you approach the budgeting process. Simplicity. Just list what directly deals with your situation and eliminate additional fluff. Flexibility. The budgeting process must be designed to be flexible. Your budget will change from month to month. For example, if you go over in one category, it should be accounted for next month, or greater efforts should be made to prevent those overruns in the future. If you want to spend more money, you have to figure out a way to earn more money. Don't get frustrated, it's just basic math. For more wisdom on wealth from Patrice C. Washington, go to patricewashington.com. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, focused on joy in our sisterhood, power in our voice, and service in our hearts. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by the Guide Right Jonesboro Kappa League, a nonprofit organization that guides young men to a life of achievement. Kappa League Jonesboro on Facebook, Jonesboro_Kappa League on Instagram, and Jonesboro Kappa League at gmail.com.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
KLEK thanks the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life, such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was established on January 1st, 1977, originally serving Blytheville, Arkansas, and now serving Jonesboro, Blytheville, Osceola, Marion, and West Memphis, Arkansas. Today, the chapter continues to make an impact by focusing on Alpha's national community outreach initiatives such as My Brother's Keeper, A Voteless People is a Hopeless People, Go to High School, Go to College, Project Alpha, Boy Scouts, and the March of Dimes. The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is committed to Alpha's mission of developing leaders, promoting brotherhood and academic excellence, while providing service and advocacy to the community. More information about the Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is available at MOL Alphas on Facebook or via email at molalphas@gmail.com.
KLEK 102.5 FM salutes small businesses. Small businesses promote local character and success, keeping money in the local economy, local jobs, entrepreneurship, community well-being, and so much more. Contact us today to learn more on how your small business could be featured on KLEK for as little as $25 per month.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Now back on Community Conversation on KLEK 102.5 FM with our guest, Stan Mitchell, candidate for Jonesboro City Clerk. And before we went to break, Donna Matt Purier says, are you campaigning in all neighborhoods or just certain areas of the city? Do you feel you can relate to all social statuses in our city?
Thank you for that question, Donna. Yes, I've campaigned in all parts of our city. I'll spend 3 or 4 hours south of town, and then I'll go up north of town, and then wind up out east where my parents are late in the day. I like to stop in and check on my 83 and 81-year-old parents time to time just to make sure they're doing all right out there. But we run citywide here as city clerk, and so it's important that you touch base with all constituents, and that's throughout our city. I'm not going to overlook a part of our city for a reason. I'm back to the reporter. I've been through our city, the trenches, the good, the bad, the pretty, the ugly. I mean, it's there. I'm not going to overlook you. I'm going to try to reach out and make contact with as many of you as can and ask for your vote. Because again, I think in Jonesboro that's still important that we get asked for our vote. People are telling me that anyway, that they appreciate me asking them. But again, I'm going to respect your social distance. I'm going to have a mask, and I'm going to continue to be tested just to make sure that I don't have the virus and that I can protect myself and protect you as well.
All right, and Kubila has a question.
Okay, so you mentioned about how not getting documents signed in your current position, how it can delay people's applications and other things they need. If you are elected to city clerk position and you're handling a citizen's paperwork, as we're adjusting to our new normal, will you try to find ways to incorporate ways for people to conduct business virtually or digitally, such as, incorporating DocuSign into PDF documents, things of that nature, just to, again, keep up with the CDC protocols and maintain safety?
Yes. Again, I will meet with our newly elected mayor early, long before January 1st, to see what can be done to make things better for our citizens. I'm all for making the public have more access to our records and their records. Because, I see them as public records, and that they should be readily available for the public to inspect upon their request.
All right, and this question was asked. I asked this question before, but I'm going to ask it again because Patty Cheney-Lack actually kind of went a little bit more in depth with it. Says, last question, please ask Mr. Mitchell, can he start day one with the new mayor taking over Donald Jackson's position, who has 29 years of experience and knowledge, and do this job without any training or assistance?
I will do the best I can. I will pledge to you that. I believe I can. I'll draw on my experience of working in the county clerk's office, which is, a clerk, and then I was deputy clerk in district court as well. I understand that, the documents are filed. You attach the seal to it. You make a copy for the client, and you keep a hard copy. And I'm sure that the documents are scanned into a PDF file as a backup. If they're not, that is certainly something that I will be talking to the mayor about, because I want the records to have as many backups and procedures. We need checks and balances in Jonesboro. We do, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that your records are accurate. It was important to me to get it right as a news reporter when I was taking those minutes, and it'll be important for me to get it right as your city clerk. But again, I would just ask for your support come November 3rd.
All right. Is there anything else that we did not touch on that you would like to mention? Anything that you would like to say to the listeners and the viewers about yourself or about your campaign?
Well, I want to be an inclusive campaign, not an exclusive. We'd also like to, we're going to put unity in community here through my campaign. I want to bring as many people together, work together to find solutions to the issues and the problems that we have in our city. As a clerk, you're there more to observe, like I said, and take the minutes and such, but I certainly will use that position to talk with the other elected officials and the people in the community to do whatever I can to make Jonesboro a better place for all of us to live. We're all Jonesboroans here. We may have different views and opinions on things, but in the end, we are all still Jonesboroans and citizens of the same city.
All right, Donna says, every job it takes training and ongoing training. Do you plan to continue training as allowed per growth? In other words, if you're elected, would you commit to professional development and training to stay on top of things in your position?
Yes. In the county clerk and district court, you're sent for annual training twice a year. I'll continue that with the city clerk. It's important to be out there and meet with other constituents across the state and get to know your other clerks. And, because you can always, if there is an issue, I know some of the clerks in the other cities from my experience working at the paper. And so I will pick up the phone. I'm friends with them. I'll pick up the phone, call them. If I have a question there, I'll draw on. I'll use whatever I can to make that a better place and to do the job right for you. I promise you that.
All right, Kabila.
I'm here. I don't have anything else at this time. I really appreciate you for giving us your time and giving us your insight into how you hope, to transition to this position. At this time, again, not knowing, how the election will fall, are you working on maybe a 3, 6, 9 month plan as to how you would like to see some things happen? Not to say that the current person is not doing her job.
Right.
I don't know her that well, apologize, but, when you move into a new position, you always want to make it more efficient or just streamline it as best as possible to meet the needs of the people.
Sure. Again, I think that goes back to why we need fresh ideas and maybe a fresh look at things once in a while. We've had a good clerk. Don Jackson's done a fine job. It's just that, again, we need checks and balances in place, and by no means do I mean that she's done anything wrong or anything, because I honestly don't believe she has. I believe she's been an excellent clerk. But on the flip side of that, I don't think passing the gavel from a 29-year clerk to a deputy clerk is really the best checks and balances that we can have in place for our city. I'm just offering the citizens out here a different choice with a pledge to you that I will only serve 2 terms. I want to start a trend of that because, again, I think this day and time that we do make a mistake if we leave those elected officials in there for too long a period.
All right, as we get ready to wrap up, anything else you would like to say to the listeners, or any shout-outs that you want to give, or just explain to the listeners once again why they feel they should elect you the next city clerk?
I'm one of you. I grew up here, worked in your factories, went to college, got educated, took on a professional role, and I've remained here. I could have gone on in my career to bigger cities and such, but I've chosen not to. I've chosen to stay here with you, to be a part of you, because I love our city. Jonesboro is a great place to live. It is a wonderful city. It has plenty to offer here, and I just want you to know that I'm one of you, and that I truly ask for your vote, and I hope that I have your support come November 3rd.
All right. And, of course, he just brought up that magic date. It's November 3rd. It is Election Day. And if you are not registered to vote, I definitely strongly encourage you to get registered to vote. You can register to vote all the way up until October 3rd. Just contact the county clerk's office, and they will happily get you registered to vote. You can also, while you're at it, request your absentee ballot. I know some people are concerned about COVID-19 and the possibility of spreading the virus, so you can request your absentee ballot. Go ahead and turn that ballot in as soon as you can, because the mail is running slow. Preferably, just go ahead and drop it back off at the clerk's office. Programming note, we will actually have Jennifer Clack, election commissioner, on this Friday, so she's going to give you all of the details of how you can vote safely in person. Of course, got to leave you with the disclaimer, Kaylee K, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. We do not endorse, support, or oppose any candidate for office. This interview is provided for informational purposes only, but we definitely encourage you to share this video, share the videos of all the candidates, watch them, ask them questions. Most of them have Facebook pages and other contact information publicly available, so contact them, ask the questions, Keep yourself informed, and most importantly, vote, because the people that you elect, they make decisions that affect you, especially on the local level. You feel those decisions immediately, the impact of those decisions, But anyway, vote, vote, vote. You guys have a great and blessed day. This is Community Conversations, and you're listening to KLEK on the 2.5 FM.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. A program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Broadcasting from the First National Bank Tower, this is KLEK-LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council.
Jonesboro's community radio station. Your life, your music. KLEK 102.5 FM.